In today's day and age, it has become increasingly more important for us to recognize the importance of preserving our older and more unique buildings in the Kingston area. Many of us drive down streets every day that are full of history without even noticing their significance.
There are so many buildings in Kingston that are full of history that are at risk of getting torn down or that have already been taken down because of neglect to realize their significance to our town's history. As our state's first capital, Kingston is fortunate enough to have such beautiful architecture, and we can't let those buildings become just memories. The Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Church of 72 Spring Street in the Rondout District of Kingston was completed in July of 1875. However, the congregation itself was started in as early as 1839. The original building they worshipped in was located at the corner of Hunter and Ravine Streets, was constructed of wood, and built by the parishioners themselves. After a devastating fire, however, in 1873, they began construction on the current church.
The ministry, the Lutheran ministry, began here in the Rondout in 1839. It was a ministry to German immigrants who were working in the shipping business here. And the church was organized around 1842 and occupied a small building down on Ravine Street. That building was lost to a fire, and this building was built in 1874, and the dedication was in 1875.
The church is said to be built in a very common style for the day of Romanesque architecture, with its arched ceilings and slight Gothic influence. It was designed by a prominent architect of the day, H. Engelbreit, who also designed many well-known churches in New York City. This church, however, was originally designed for a German congregation.
Until the 1940s, the vast majority of the members were German immigrants. The worship services were in German. A parochial school was started here, and it was taught in German. So everything they did here was in German. But they soon discovered that children of immigrants much more quickly become the children of the new country, and had great difficulties because the generation of the children wanted English, because that's what they were speaking all the time. And that led to a division of the church. And it was only after the division that other ethnic groups started to come into this church. But still today it's called the German Church.
And although Mass attendance has decreased over the years, people originally had to purchase pews to be assured a seat at Mass, and the church still has that capacity to be filled up.
We can sit just shy of 700 people. The average attendance on Sundays are 50. So you can imagine how empty the building feels. Even on a holiday like Easter or Christmas, when we may have 200, there's still 500 empty seats.
It comes as a surprise to many, however, that the Masses are not more filled with all the beautiful features that the church has to offer. The grand organ was installed in 1875 and is completely original, with the exception of a few cosmetic restorations. Because of the organ's impeccable condition, the church is a favorite spot for many choir concerts as well. Our
organ was built also in 1874 for this building and dedicated in 1875. It has just been, the pipes have just been renovated, the bellows. So its voice, if someone from 1875 came here, they would hear the organ just as it sounded then. It has a beautiful, beautiful voice, and the acoustics of the building are very, very good. And so choral groups sometimes come here. People just love the sound. Yes, the stained glass windows were all put in at a single time in 1922. The north side of the building, churches have different geography. Wherever the altar is the east wall. And so the north wall are all moments in the life of Jesus, from his birth to his ascension. And on the south wall, it's all part of the ministry of Jesus, parables and healing ministries of Jesus. The Lutheran Church began began in Germany under the guidance of Martin Luther, who was an Augustinian monk. The Lutheran faith is geared towards liberating people. The liberation is from rule of tradition and custom and church law, that the scripture is the primary voice that we listen to, that the message of Jesus Christ is the message we bring to the world, which is a liberating message, freedom from sin and death and the power of evil. And that all of that is received by us by grace. Everything we get from God is free, unearned, and undeserved. And since we receive it for free, then what we get from God we give to other people. Free, unearned, undeserved. That's forgiveness, acceptance, whatever kind of physical, emotional, and spiritual support. That's the cornerstone of the Lutheran Church.
Even though Reverend Paul Britton has only been at the Spring Street Parish for about a year and a half, he is very involved in keeping the church in its beautiful condition and very concerned about preservation, not only in his church, but in the entire Kingston area.
I think that here in the United States, we have a penchant for tearing things down when they get old and putting up new things. And we don't leave anything behind. We don't even leave foundations behind. We tear right down to the dirt and we rebuild. And part of that then doesn't give us a sense of connectedness, of belonging to any place. And this city is rich in belonging. And so there are buildings here that go back to the Dutch days before English colonization of New York. And you go to the Stockade or uptown and you just walk around a little bit and you see our history in stone. And it's right there. And this church, being here since the 1840s, is half the age of the country. And so to keep it here on this corner, to keep it in good repair, is a reminder of all that history that has gone by here. Other communities you go to, and there's none of this.
Because of beliefs like those of Reverend Britton, the rich history that Kingston is full of continues to influence those in the area. And hopefully, after learning more about these amazing buildings that we have, even more people will join in to help preserve the beauty our town has to offer.
After learning about one of the many historic buildings Kingston has to offer, we as a group have gotten a whole new look of the importance of taking pride in our town and preserving all it has to offer.